Hey guys, I'm just making this video really quickly. I was looking around for endings and I did find one which kind of intrigued me, but this.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This happened. So well, not only am I
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
It might be just that this really it has no difference in what happens later on, but I'm confused. Oh, wow, it just skips all that and just goes here.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I just want to make sure that nothing else changed, just in case. I doubt that anything else changed. So, here, since I'm already here,
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I might as well show you the other, the new ending I found. Well, not this. This thing is always awesome, but
Stanley stepped into the
here,
room.
okay, let me show you. It's this. All right, so this one is I don't know what to call it, but it's a pretty insightful ending. So this is gonna be a shorter video of the Stanley Parable. It's gonna be
This
interesting.
is the story.
It is gonna be interesting. I promise you that.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
So as you can see, like, the narration sometimes changes here and there, but I don't think that really has any effect. But this, I failed. So it turns out you could actually break the game a bit. Here we go. So, I mean, at this point I was just kind of like running around. But turns out that there is indeed heaven. And watch, listen.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
I kinda am. Alright, so last time I chose no. So I just wanted to make sure if it's the same thing or not. If it is, I'll tell you guys. If not, then I'll play the no for you guys.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like, right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
Hey.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton.
Hey.
He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
Wow. Bravo. Is this a loop? I'm actually not sure. He's good at the guitar though. I should have saved. I'm waiting for a potential, you know, like extra new stuff, but I'm assuming that that's not gonna happen, is it? Yeah. Oh. Oh, never mind. I thought. At this point, I believe I should indeed leave. I think that might be a good choice to make in any situation. I will actually do that now. It's beautiful music though, but yeah. Alright, let's try that one more time. I'll show you guys the no ending, and that'll be it for today's video.
This is the story of a man named
It kind of makes me
Stanley.
wonder if this video is going to change at some point too.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was
guess not.
simple.
Alright, so let's see. Good. The office is same.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
There we go. The no one is actually not as awesome, but it makes you think a lot.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
It's a horrible gag.
Then in that case, we'll continue.
JK.
But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer?
Which it is.
How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one?
I said a yes.
Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
And that's it. That's all there is to it, as far as I know. I mean, I'm sure if maybe if a way something happens, but not that patient. So, yeah, that's all I had to show you guys for now. Yeah, that's done for this part, and I'll see you guys next time.